Hi. As you may know, I use CFOP. A normal CFOP solve consists of doing cross, F2L, OLL, and PLL. Overall, it's a pretty well-rounded method, and assuming you know full OLL and PLL, you need to memorize around 78 algorithms. While CFOP is the most common speed solving method, RU is another method that is just as viable. When solving with RU, you would do the first two blocks, CMLL and LSE. Assuming that you know full CMLL, this method uses 48 algorithms instead of CFOP's 78. However, this method is mostly intuitive and therefore more complicated for beginners to learn. Compared to CFOP, RU is more efficient and has a lower move count, and CFOP is easier to learn and execute. I've actually tried to learn RU before, but I failed. The only thing I learned from that experience was that RU block building is really cool. So ever since then, I've been interested in RU CFOP hybrids. At first, I was thinking about a method where you can do normal RU block building, then insert the last two pieces across, and then do OLL and PLL like normal. But the problem with that method was that it took too much time to insert the last two cross edges, and that there were way too many blind spots. So one day, instead of doing homework, I thought that why don't I try that, but with a 3-piece cross. So I did that, and it worked out pretty well. At first I thought I was literally a genius, but no. This is already a thing that's been used before, so. Using a 3-piece cross seems to be a variant of FreeFop. I found conflicting information on what FreeFop really is. I thought FreeFop was a method where you can solve cross and F2L at the same time in like any way you want to, but after doing some research, I don't know anymore. Seems like some places say yeah, and some places are like no. So for the purpose of this video, I'm gonna call the method I'm talking about cross -1. That sounds pretty cool, right? So here's how it works. First, you make cross -1 piece. Some people call this a semi-cross. Then you do rotationless F2L, making use of the open slot where the fourth cross piece should go. After that, insert your last cross edge and do OLO and PLO like normal. Now keep in mind that this is just one way to do cross -1. Instead of inserting the last cross edge and doing OLO and PLO, you can do the last steps of RU. You can do CMLL, then insert the last cross piece in a way that orientates the last layer's edges, then do an easy PLL. Or, it actually might be possible to do CMLL and insert the last cross edge in a way that solves the last layer's edges, effectively skipping PLL. Wow. Of course, it's a possibility, but it's a possibility. Now, let's talk about what makes cross -1, the F2L. When I do cross -1, I like having the open slot in the front, but I've also seen people have it in the back. I just feel like it's easier to do M primes instead of M's, and I like knowing what piece is currently in the open slot. Like I said before, cross -1 is rotationless, and that's great because it has a similar move count to CFOP. And again, this is great because I know that I'm not doing the most efficient solutions, so there's a possibility that it has less moves than CFOP, and it is rotationless, which is pretty cool. When doing cross -1 F2L, you want to try your best to not rotate. So instead of rotating, use wide moves and the M slice to create pairs and insert those pairs. Also, try not to depend too much on the M slice because it's faster and easier to use the R, U, and L moves. If you want to try this method out for yourself, here's a few tricks I recommend. Here's a few pros of cross -1. Cross -1 is rotationless, efficient, and not very hard to execute. I think it's possible to get really fast with this method. Cross -1 also has a ton of potential, as if I haven't said that already like 100 times. Do you remember how I said that using cross -1 it might be possible to skip PLO? Well, I think it's possible to have an algorithm set out there that, effectively skips PLO. That means that instead of doing cross -1, F2L, insert the last cross edge, OLL, PLL, you can do cross -1, F2L, CMLL, and then insert the last cross edge, and that's it. Again, it's possible, so I'm not 100% sure on it, but I'm like 70% sure. I feel like that's something that could happen, and that would be really, really cool. And honestly, there wouldn't be that many algorithms too, so that's a plus. Using cross -1 also gives you a higher chance of getting an OLL skip. All you have to do is hope that the last layer's edges are solved, then you can force an OLL skip by orientating the edges while inserting the final cross piece. Here's some cons of cross -1. Solving the last cross edge takes longer than it should. You know, it's a small, easy step, but it just takes too much time and it's kind of inefficient. But the good thing is, I think there's other ways to complete other steps while inserting the last cross piece. Another con is that there is literally zero information. Okay, I lied. There's like a few videos out there, but there's like no helpful information. You know, I linked what I found helpful, but you know, feel free to research. I couldn't find much. You know, it sucks. It really does. But hey, you know, hopefully that can change, right? So I'm definitely gonna try this method out. I think it's really cool and it's kind of fun, you know. So I'll update you every now and then how it's going. I think cross -1 has a ton of potential, and you know, I'd like to know what you guys think. Love you, bye.